Dylan Zippy, also known as The Chin or DZ, is a 21-year-old TikTok content creator. Dylan would rise to infamy in the early 2020s after a string of controversies involving minors. A string that seemed never-ending as accusation after accusation would flood in against The Chin. The worst part being that he got away with everything. Today we are going to cover the story of Dylan Zippy, what made him so popular on TikTok in the first place, the many allegations against Dylan Zippy, and what he has been up to today. Because contrary to popular belief, he has not disappeared from the internet. Buckle up, because this might be one of the worst people that I have covered on this channel. First, I would like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money. I recently found out that I was being charged for streaming services that I wasn't even using, and for that, I have Rocket Money to thank. It's an app that centers around helping you save and manage your money. Rocket Money helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money better. One of my favorite tools to use is their budget builder. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of your finances. I can say personally that just seeing everything laid out in front of my eyes makes me feel so much better. Another amazing thing is they'll help you lower your bills. By simply uploading a photo of your bill and tapping a few buttons, Rocket Money will negotiate your bills for you, for internet services to cable and phone bills. Take better control of your finances today. Go to rocketmoney.com/kiwitapes to get started for free. And a big thank you to Rocket Money for being the sponsor of today's video. Dylan Zippy was born April 23rd, 2003. While not much is known about his early life, we do know that Dylan is somewhat smart, doing well in school and attending college courses at the age of 17. Nothing more of note would happen to Dylan until he started posting on TikTok, where he was met with limited success, until he found a genre of TikToks that he was perfect for and passionate about. He would post what is called a thirst trap. The Webster Dictionary describes thirst trap as a photograph, such as a selfie or video, shared for the purpose of attracting attention or desire. I was pretty shocked to find this in the Real Dictionary and not the Urban Dictionary, but I digress. Dylan was posting a lot of these thirst trap videos, and they were really catching on. It's even where he got his nickname, The Chin. During his thirst trap videos, Dylan will stroke his chin and make a strange face at the camera. This is him trying to seem more attractive for the camera, and I think it is what made him so popular. He was there before the Rizzler. Let me show you a couple of my favorite TikToks that he made. They are very telling of what he would do in the future. Yo DZ, you see the new girl yet? No. Where is she? Eye contact from across the room. Hit him with the Rizzler chin grab. Then you seal the deal with a, hello there, I'm Dylan. Me and my boyfriend broke up. I'm sorry. Decide to kiss her for the first time. You're going to be my first kiss. Some of his TikToks are pretty creepy when you add in the context of what Dylan's been accused of. The first kiss one in particular gets me. Something about that face sends chills down my spine. As I previously stated, Dylan would garner most of his popularity from these thirst trap TikToks, and he was doing pretty well for himself, accumulating over 40,000 subscribers at one point. But this was not meant to be, as Dylan Zippy would commit some horrid things that would come to the light of day. A 14-year-old TikToker alleged that Dylan had sent a number of inappropriate messages and photos to her on Snapchat. This TikToker had proof, including the photos of Dylan that had been sent. These photos did not include a full image of Dylan's face, but had numerous identifiable objects from around his room, such as the LED lights or his infamous white beanie. I would also like to add in that these messages were pretty graphic. They were not all just asking her how she was doing. There were a number of charged questions that a child should never be receiving from someone Dylan's age. Despite this near concrete proof that Dylan was at the very least messaging this minor, he would deny everything, ignoring it for as long as he possibly could. But after he hit 40,000 subscribers, he realized that this controversy would never rest, and that he would have to address the situation if he was ever going to move forward on TikTok. So address the situation he did with one of his very few videos that doesn't include music. He would basically admit that the messages were real, but that he did not know this person's age and was just trying to be friendly.
Thank you guys again for 40k followers. It means a lot to me, but this is not why I'm here. I need to talk to you guys for a bit. This is my apology video. So for anyone out there, I just want to say I'm sorry. And I did not mean to be creepy in any way. I just wanted to be a nice person and to sing for her. And I did not know that she was 14. She didn't tell me her age. So it was wrong of me to do that. So I just want to say I'm sorry. And hopefully you guys can appreciate it and accept my apology. And yeah, and hopefully you guys accept it. So if you guys do, thank you. And I just don't want to get hate anymore. So.
I love how he starts his controversial video by thanking the people for 40,000 subscribers. He can't even split them into two different videos, he's just gonna get it all out of the way at once. He also says that he wasn't trying to be weird or anything, he was just trying to be a nice person. That is not at all what I'm getting from the messages that I've seen. Telling a child that you don't know if it's going to fit in is not just trying to be nice. It's not just you trying to sing to her, Dylan. And by you admitting that these messages are from you to this other person, you've basically just confirmed your guilt. He is merely banking on the fact of controlling the narrative, telling the people who were unaware that it was simply not a big deal, and he didn't know that she was 14. I have heard this defense many times before, the most infamous of which is Little QB, who was also alleged to have sent inappropriate messages to minors, though I gotta say he took being exposed a lot worse than Dylan did.
She was 18. I talked to her all my life for 3 months under that false idea that she was 18. I stopped talking to her. I literally thought she was going through a mental health crisis, so that's why I made other accounts to try to reach out. Then when she said she was serious, I never contacted her again. I've never been arrested. That's a fake news story. Fuck you all. Go to hell. I hope you all rot in hell. I hope you all rot in hell. I hope you all burn in hell.
It seems to be a common trend that when these people are caught, they try to downplay the situation, and in Dylan's case, they will still try to own up to it, but in a lesser way. The way that Dylan nonchalantly talks about all this as if it is a forgivable thing speaks volumes to his moral character. But he really expected this apology video to do the trick, that this would be the end of the situation and he could move forward posting more thirst traps. But behind the scenes, Dylan was also moving forward with some other things, in line with what we just talked about. The video isn't titled TikTok's Repeat Predator for nothing, because he would find himself in yet another series of allegations. The apology video did nothing but inflict the Streisand effect onto the situation. The Streisand effect is an unintended consequence of attempting to hide, remove, or censor information where the efforts instead increase public awareness. This was coined when Barbra Streisand tried to sue a photographer for photos of her home. These photos were to document coastal erosion and weren't really mainstream until Barbra sued the photographer, causing the photo to become extremely popular. The same thing, though to a much lesser extent, happened to Dylan after the apology video was posted. The people who didn't know about the situation were going to go and research it, and the people who knew saw this as a half-hearted apology, not explaining all of the facts. So public sentiment for Dylan Zippy was at an all-time low, and more people were comfortable to step forward with their allegations. Yet another TikTok would be posted of a 13-year-old girl exposing Dylan, for once again exposing himself to her. This TikToker would accuse Dylan of sending a number of explicit messages and photographs to her, and request posting some photographs from her. Once again, there were photographs that matched Dylan's room. More images of his lights, of the fixtures around his house, and of his clothing. Dylan's defense of saying he didn't know that the previous victim's age was 14 was shattered by this, because now a pattern had developed. Young girls around the age of 14 were being contacted by Dylan on Snapchat. It seemed possibly through a connection on TikTok, because every girl that had exposed Dylan so far was posting TikTok videos. My theory is that Dylan was finding these girls on TikTok, flaunting his status as a bigger influencer, and try to use that power imbalance for nefarious purposes. This second expose was even worse for Dylan. He had directed everyone's attention to the situation with his first scandal, the second truly solidifying the hate for him on the platform, and this led to trolling. One of these trolls would pose as a 14-year-old girl on Instagram, and when this individual dropped the chat logs, it was pretty damning for Dylan. The person posing as the 14-year-old made their age very clear, both in the bio of their Instagram and by stating it plainly to Dylan, who responded in a manner that seemed to be uncaring, continuing to flirt with her. At this point, Dylan had already been exposed publicly twice, but this was no deterrent. He continued to post his TikToks and continued to ignore the new accusations. After these new allegations hit, people began to take interest in Dylan's story, particularly YouTubers who were making many videos on the situation, with them providing continuous updates as Dylan was exposed time after time. But one piece of content I found about the situation gave a lot of context to everything. It was from a TikToker named Your Favorite Guy, who posted a video going over Dylan's many allegations and sharing some of his own experiences with Dylan in a group chat. Both Dylan Zippy and Your Favorite Guy were in a TikTok group chat among many other TikTokers, and what he had to say about Dylan's conduct there was shocking.
This is Dylan Zippy asking a young girl to come over to his place. This is Dylan Zippy asking a young girl if it would fit. Despite being caught multiple times over the past 3 years, Dylan Zippy continues with this behavior, which was going on way before he was 18. When he was 17, he was trying to 13 and 14-year-olds.
Dylan Zippy is 20 years old, and I knew him before he was 18. The reason I knew him was because there was a Snapchat group chat of a bunch of TikTokers, and we were both in it. And this was before all this stuff came out about him. While we were both in this group chat, it came out that while he was 17, he was multiple 14-year-olds, multiple 13-year-olds. I told him to cut it out. Did he? Not at all. Us creators ended up contacting his parents about his behavior. They made him deactivate the account, but since then he's moved out. Unsurprisingly, 2 years later, he has once again been caught trying to and meet up with 14-year-olds. He entirely ignores the recent time he was caught trying to sex a 14-year-old, and he knew the ages. Hell, I even catfished him at the time, telling him I was 14.
Dylan would also post another apology, saying that he couldn't believe this happened again, and once again that he just wanted to move past this. But it doesn't seem like he's capable. If all of these allegations are to be believed, Dylan has been targeting a certain age group for years now. What Your Favorite Guy talked about just there was Dylan trying to solicit minors well before he was exposed on TikTok, targeting people around this age even before he was 18. That makes 4 or 5 solid allegations against Dylan Zippy, all within the span of 3 years. And the allegations weren't even done yet. They were somehow going to get even darker. Just months after all of this happened, Dylan would once again be accused of sending inappropriate messages to a minor, this time a 13-year-old boy, alleging the same things as the previous 2 incidents. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Many other people have come forward with allegations against Dylan, but the ones that I discussed in this video are the most substantiated. There is an obvious pattern here of Dylan contacting people around the age of 14 and sending them explicit imagery and messages, allegedly, as he hasn't been convicted of any of this, but I've seen a great number of the photos and the evidence against him is pretty damning, as well as the sheer amount of people that have spoken out against him. It seemed like after the first one, the floodgates opened, and that was in more ways than one. The comments on Dylan's TikToks were flooded with his accusations and trollish comments. So one day, Dylan deleted all of his TikToks, renamed his channel, and started uploading EDM tracks. He would also post very few images of his face to any of his social media accounts, which were now limited to the aforementioned TikTok and his Instagram. And this is where Dylan's story picks up today. Many people believe that he has disappeared from the internet, but this is far from the case. Dylan still posts pretty frequently to his YouTube channel. They aren't thirst traps anymore. He seems to have abandoned that content style. He now does stuff like urban exploration, skateboarding, and photography of the city. He also seems to enjoy EDM music, and it looks like he might even be producing some of his own for concerts. But as hard as he might try to run away from his past, it will always catch up to him. The accusations against Dylan are extensive and far-reaching, and because of that, he is now one of the most well-known TikTok predators. Realizing this, he deleted most of his TikToks and moved to YouTube, but it undoes nothing. Dylan once said that he hoped all of this wouldn't affect his future career on TikTok and in life, but it most certainly has. I think that he has stopped posting videos of his face because he wants it to be less infamous. Right now there are posts with hundreds of thousands of views exposing him, showing his face. That is something he will never be able to wash off, and I assume that this stain will follow him for the rest of his days. I also have to assume that Dylan hasn't changed. He acted like he was sorry only to commit these actions again and again, which leads me to believe that he is not remorseful and that he is very capable of doing this again. He got off scot-free the other 4 times. What's to stop him from doing it a 5th time? What's to stop him from doing this behavior under the table? The truth is nothing. How many more people have allegations against Dylan? I don't think that we will ever know.